Right, so Yasmin and Dawn are with us at this restaurant. We've just had a lovely meal, okay, because we're discussing tipping, and I think our waitress, was quite good. Let's bring, I don't know what your name is, but would you mind coming in? Can we have the bill?
Yes.
Sorry, I don't do that normally. I want you to know.
That's okay, sir. I'm fine.
Let's have a look. And that's says 142 for three. Okay. Is service included then?
No, it's not. You're welcome to tip though if you would like, sir.
Right. And it'd be normally what, 12% or something?
12%, lovely.
Yeah.
That'd be round about 16.
Well, let's. Yeah. Well, you.
And she was so brilliant.
You go higher, would you?
I'd go, 20.
20, which is that's like £28. No, 14.
That sounds wonderful.
No, that's £28.
Yeah.
And what about you?
You're paying, aren't you? No. I think she did a very. Well, she was fairly average, to be honest with you.
She can hear us.
My name's Ella, by the way.
Ella,
Yeah, watch
Ella,
out.
whatever, darling.
Watch out.
Any case, I thought she was fairly average, but I think the restaurant should pay her a fair wage. I don't agree with tipping.
You don't tip.
Sorry.
You don't tip.
Yeah.
So you want to go.
I think that's terrible because we know what restaurants are like. And
Exactly, that's the point.
But that won't change. And it's a really tough job.
Would most people tip
I
you?
would agree with that. Most people do tip. We have a few people that are like yourself, a little bit hesitant.
not
They often
hesitant.
don't come back.
I mean, I noticed. I was going to say 12%, but I noticed you slipped over there with the pasta, and it went on
did
someone's
slip,
head.
but-
A fusilli went on someone's head.
A fusilli.
One of the few. Like that.
Fusilli, yes.
Yeah.
It
Just shows
fell.
how hard the job is, doesn't it?
All right.
If you're not wanting to tip, that is fine.
We don't want to upset you.
I take that.
We don't want to upset you.
I want
I will
to-
go with the 12%. You're going 20.
20.
You're going 0. So we'll add. Okay. So there we. That's the classic conversation, isn't it? Where you're trying to work out. How do you work it? You're very generous. You're
Not generous.
You've got a policy of just. I love this restaurant, by the way. You've got a policy of basically not tipping.
Well,
In a restaurant, yes.
What I don't like is the Americanization of the tipping system here, where you are treated like dirt if you don't tip. I mean, I actually was in in a coffee shop in America recently, where it's a self-service coffee shop. Went and got a tin of diet drink from the fridge, walked up to the till, and they expected a tip for that. And I actually had a blazing row. I said, well, you've done nothing. You didn't even take my money while you were still chatting behind the till. So I don't like the Americanization of it. And I don't like the fact that they add the service charge to the bill.
This is you see what the waitress did there, which I think was unusual actually, was she said, look, they normally give me a tip.
Yeah.
It wasn't included, which is why we had to have a discussion.
Yes.
I, in a way, would like it to be added because then I don't have to have a discussion about it.
But the thing I don't like is, they've added the service charge, and then they ask for a further amount.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah.
And I
I'll
think
tell you
that's
why
not on.
The reason we're discussing this is because the number of cafes, coffee shops and restaurants prompting customers to leave a tip on card machines has risen by almost 80% in the past 2 years. But the extra suggestions that tip here, tip there don't appear to have made us any more generous. A quarter of Brits say they prefer not to tip, so in Dawn's situation, those that do have stubbornly stuck to about 10% of the bill for years. I think you should tip about 12% if it's okay, and then sometimes just go wild.
Yeah.
Do 100% tip. I did that at the weekend actually.
Did you?
I got a pancake at My Old Dutch, and it cost £25, and I gave a £25 tip because the lady was just so nice to me. I was sitting on my own reading a copy of Viz. right? And I think she took pity on me.
What century are you
Every
in
time
now?
she came to
My Old Dutch and Viz.
I know.
Oh my God.
Every time she came to service, she was laughing. So I thought, I love this woman. I don't know anything. She'd probably be laughing at something else. I don't know. Elaine in Manchester, do you tip, Elaine?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
absolutely.
Good. And
I have two daughters, and when they were younger, they both worked as waitresses to earn some extra money whilst they were studying. And the big thing, every time they'd done a shift, was how much money they'd got in tips.
yeah.
The thing was, my youngest daughter, she worked near Manchester United in a restaurant. And of course, I'm a big football fan, but my girls are not. They have no interest in football.
Right.
So one day, this guy came in and said he was very handsome. And he sat by himself and he was just reading the paper.
Okay.
And drinking.
That rules out
orange
Eric
juice.
Cantona, yeah.
And he was eating chicken salad, and she said, I said to him, did you ask for chips? Because she couldn't understand why I didn't have chips. But he said no. Anyway, in the end, he left, and he gave her £20. Now, as a tip, now I'm going back over 20 years, so it was a massive amount of money, and she was so thrilled. But when the manager came in, he said to her, and she told him, he said to her, well, who was it? It could be a Man U player. And she said, well, I don't know. And he was absolutely beside himself. And he got this big picture of all the Manchester United players out and got her to pick him out. And of course,
I want to know who it was. Hang on a minute, 20 years ago.
No, I don't want to name him.
Oh, go on. It's a good story. Go on. He eats salad and he gives big tips. It's a lovely... Who was it? Go on.
I can't, no, honestly, I can't. I don't want to say because he's still actually in the news, so I don't want to say.
He's still in the news.
But I do think that he needed it. You know, I mean, they don't earn a lot of money.
Yeah.
I wouldn't tip if they were rude to me or if they weren't.
Yeah.
Now, I'll just quickly tell you.
Go on quickly, yeah.
My daughter worked at the golf club, right, Sunday mornings, and she came home absolutely beside herself and said, guess what? She said, one of them actually clicked his fingers at me and said, because he was tired of waiting.
Yeah.
She said, so I said, is there a dog in here? And she said, I immediately went and put his to the back of the queue because he was so rude.
Okay, Elaine, thank you. No one clicks their fingers anymore, not in any establishment.
That just
I did it because I was acting upon.
Dramatic
I wouldn't,
effect,
waiter. I would not normally do it. I want you to know that, waiter. Okay, I would not normally do that, as I think she knows. So, okay, where do we get to there? Which player? All we want to know is who. I think
was the
it's Gary
player?
Neville. It's got to be Gary
20
Neville
years ago.
because she said he's still active, but he wouldn't still be playing.
No.
So he's therefore got to.
But the
It can't be
more important
Beckham.
point
She
that-
would have known Beckham.
But the point that I think is important is how badly paid they are.
Yeah.
That's something we must order, even in
They
very
factor
posh
in tips as the
restaurants.
salary. I mean, do you know what the scandal is? Is that the restaurant is able to say your minimum wage includes what we think you will get as tips.
Yeah, and that's
You'd
the
never
thing.
think that would happen.
I used to get that as a barmaid, and with its service charges added on here, you don't know that the people serving you are going to get it. Where's that money going?
No, well, I think I carry cash partly to leave tips. I think it's a much better way of doing it. So, Patricia in Belfast, hi.
Hello. Hi.
Hello. You've got some lovely restaurants in Belfast now. My goodness.
We do, but I can't afford to eat in all of them, unfortunately, because, like you've just mentioned there, I'm on a minimum wage.
Okay. Are you working as a staff in a restaurant or something else?
No, something else. And
Okay.
my contract does not allow me to accept tips, gifts, or anything like that. So that's one point I'd like to make, that not everybody can qualify for a tip.
What's your job? What's your job? You can't be tipped by customers.
Well, it's not face to face for a start anyway. But
Is it
I'm not
police
allowed
or
to accept something similar, but not police.
Okay, because I'm quite glad there's a rule that you can't tip the police, because particularly in
some
Northern
people
Ireland.
try. That's bribery, is it so?
Yes. So what do you think about this thing where really we discussed this because routinely the card reader will just add the tip now, and it's 12.5%, and we just touch our card. And you're losing the ability to say, thank you, you've done a great job, here's my tip, which I've decided to pay you.
But my view is, and I know obviously everybody's on a different salary. I'm at the very low, on the bottom rung of the ladder. And if I can't afford to go out and eat out, which is not often, because restaurant prices have gone up a lot in the last few years as well. And I don't see why I should be made to feel, and I do feel sort of a bit awkward sometimes, bad to not to tip someone whenever they're likely earning more money than I am.
Yeah, good point, Patricia. Thank you very much. That's a good point. And I sometimes think, I don't know whether Five Guys would be an example. I love Five Guys. You go and you get a burger, you get at the counter, then you sit down. I don't remember, I don't want to traduce them, but I have a feeling that may include service at the counter, a service charge. Again, counter service is like Nando's is an example. What am I tipping for?
But that was my experience buying a tin of drink.
Yeah.
And all they had to do was take my money at the till, and they expected a tip.
Yeah.
Now, I have withheld tips.
Have you?
Once or
For
twice.
what?
For really bad service, rudeness.
Yeah.
laziness. I mean, that's that choice.
I can't.
That you're
I've got that British sort of thing of just I'm so reticent to get into a row. You don't have it. You love it, but I just can't. I know that if I say I'm not tipping you because you raised your eyebrow at me at about 8 minutes.
I don't do that. I just don't tip, and they know why.
Snootiness.
Yeah. But the problem with that, Yasmin, if it's on there, very few people have got the nerve to say, I'm sorry, take that off.
Yeah.
Because you feel like you're causing a scene.
Suzanne on Merseyside. Hi, Suzanne.
Hi there.
I'm loving this new set we've got. We should do this every day. Isn't it great? It really feels right. And is that a real candle there, or is that? Oh, I love the way
I've just ruined the illusion
for
you.
Test fire is just putting your hand in it. I love it. Suzanne, hi. What do you want to say?
I always give a tip. I give tips in restaurants. I give tips to taxi drivers, but I always use cash. Basically, I think if you're paying by debit or credit card and you don't have a choice, that's wrong. And also the fact that a lot of these businesses hold the cash in their accounts for an amount of time before the actual people at the other end get it. So I would just prefer to pay cash and tip. And that's what I do.
I always wonder, if I pay cash, it obviously goes to the person who serves you, which may be what you want, but it then does miss out the person who handed her the plate or the person who put the sauce on the
kitchen.
Well, that's it, yeah. Thanks, Suzanne. Pete in Staffordshire, hi.
Oh, Jeremy, okay.
Got my little restaurant bill here. Do you always add a tip to it?
Well, I was just telling the lady there, I was a milkman for well over 40 years.
Oh, yes.
Christmas time, I used to do getting up for I'm going back to the late 80s, early 90s. I used to do over £1,000 in tips at Christmas. You know, I used to pay for my children's presents. It was great.
Do you know, I remember that we had this down when I was...
There's no milkman anymore. That finished, didn't they?
Oh, I'm sorry. In the 80s, we had this, and there was a reserve milkman came round. I mean, someone the week before Christmas and collected all the tips that had been left for the daily milkman who'd done the whole year. And I think it got thermonuclear. The fury. So did you all got your tips? No one else took them, Pete?
No, I had over 600 customers, but I used to, I mean, I'm not after a Blue Peter badge, but I used to, do little jobs for them, cut the lawns and fetch the pensions and one thing or another. But that's a service the milkman used to do, you know. You know,
I think we need to bring back milkmen. I'm
but also,
serious.
I always, around this time of the year, we have a paper boy who delivers newspapers, and we tip him and we tip the dustbin collectors.
Great. Brilliant. Oh, the dustbin. Well, that's good. Yeah. Thanks, Pete. Thanks for all your calls. Wasn't that lovely meal we had?
Cheers. Yeah.
And I thought great service, although you didn't.
Bit remiss on the champagne,
Yeah,
Jeremy.
we were slow to fill up, actually. Wait up. After the break, it's the papers and everything else, including the...